Hey everybody, welcome to Forge the Narrative. This is our Monday night live webcast. I'm your host, Paul Murphy. Got Justin Troop and Chris Morgan with us.
Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to this channel. That is how we know you are watching. Well, plus the Q&A. You know, it's going to be live Q&A. Can't wait to get all that rolling. Nice to see folks popping in. I'm in the process right now of updating the event page on Facebook for our FTN seasonal coming up in November of this year. So like the last month, getting close to the end of fall. Going to call it the fall seasonal. Going to be a first-class event in Atlanta, Georgia.
I'll be there.
I'll try to be there.
I'll definitely be there.
That's all we can ask is try your best to get here. Yeah, it's one of those things. Going to be a good time. You know, cannot wait. Gonna blow it out. Gonna make it as awesome as we possibly can. If you came to the last seasonal, you know the kind of vibe that we have for the events, which is top notch, but also very casual. Very much a gamer, war game. Nice vibe to it. It's the best way I can put it.
Well, if I remember right,
okay.
One way to measure how awesome the event is by the fact that not really that many people decided not to show up after buying tickets. And
well, I mean, yeah, that is true. Everyone showed up, everybody played, everybody had a good time. You know, cannot argue with any of that stuff. But enough that there'll be plenty of time for promoting that. You know, what about Age of Space Marine? I mean, Sigmar.
That's the coolest game I've ever played.
I love me my Space Marines with Thunder Hammers.
Oh man, if you guys haven't played it yet, man, I definitely recommend digging up some stuff. Even if you don't have any fantasy models, proxy them. Look at all the rules; they're free, dude. Literally, like my mind was blown how much fun I was having with it. Don't take it serious, you know. Definitely right now, you know, till we digest it more and everything. Go into it having fun, and I promise you, you're gonna leave with your stomach aching from laughing so hard for some of the rules and stuff, man. I can't say too many good things about it.
Well, I mean, let's think of it this way. From what we saw kind of cruise around the internet today is that some of those rules, the fun rules, were released just to be fun.
Yeah.
We don't do that in our games. What are you talking? We don't release rules to be fun and play a game. Get out of here, Paul.
No one. Back to that. Let me do one thing, man. If you told me that I could raise a glass to get a +1 on my save or to my hit rolls or whatever at a 40K, or say dance a jig, you know, I'm the last guy you need to give bonus rolls to for doing something silly at a table.
Having a good moustache.
Is there a rule in there like take your shirt off to get a 2+ ward save or something?
Look, I promise you that if that existed, I would be doing it.
It doesn't exist, and you're still doing it.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm still pretty happy that they put all this stuff out there, because even if it is just a nod to the fantasy players that have all these models, then who cares? It's still cool, right?
Like I said, man, there's so many things good to say about it. The models, if you haven't physically got to see the models and touch the models, they're a little bit. They look like true scale almost, or what I would consider true scale.
Hey, Duncan Rhodes is here to save the day. He put up a painting video on how to paint the guy with the shield and the dude with the wings.
What? Oh my god! I know what I'm doing in about 58 minutes.
That's what I was doing right before I logged on.
But you paint him exactly like you do Space Marines.
Yeah.
But there's no shame in it. I mean, now I'm saying that like it's a bad thing, but let me tell you that it is not a bad thing. Let me tell you why I think that is. Because Space Marines sell.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
If they're going to move into and Games Workshop is fully committed. They replaced the Space Marine statue at the front of their headquarters with an Age of Sigmar hammer dude. I don't know what his name is. Relictor, Retributor, Redemptioner.
I will say, bold move. It's a little much for me.
Well, doesn't it? I mean, okay, let's say that you're following it like we follow it, where we're trying to make sense of everything that they do and what they mean and everything else. That it shows committed to it, and that means that maybe I'm a little bit more excited about playing the game.
Yeah, their love for what they just created and how they're marketing it to show us like, hey guys, we really care about this product and this line, etc. To show that to you, we just changed the front of our building. Hello, get on board, man. It's going nowhere.
Do look good. I saw a demo game, and this is also kind of pointed out into that letter going around, which we don't know if it's legitimate or not, or comments or whatever, is that none of the silly stuff is in these rules that come in the box set. That's all in the stuff that you go and seek out. It's really I don't want to say it's an elegant rule system, because it seems like shooting is very powerful or powerful. So if you have shooting mortal wounds and you're basically going to win every game, that's what it looks like to me right now. But I don't, but that's without me, really piecing it together. And every single person that I talked to at the game store had their own idea of how to balance the game.
Yeah, yeah. As a community,
every single one.
That's what's going to end up happening. We were trying to come up with some kind of a structure to it. Me and my brother played a little bit, and it was let's start with 40 wounds, right? Just to give some kind of a structure to it. That's too low.
Yeah, I think that's a fine one to start with wounds, or say that you can have 30 models and no model can have more than 3 wounds,
Yeah, there's going to be a way to kind of balance it in that aspect. But somebody posted, I don't remember what Facebook group or whatever it was on, but they made a really good point. Read the rules about how you set up the game, and it's one for one. Like, I put a model, you put a model. I put a model, you put a model. He's like, bring your grab bag of crap. If he puts down a bloodthirster, look through your grab bag. What can beat a bloodthirster? Let me put that down real quick. Just kind of like, don't try to list build. Basically, was his point, because you're going to be disappointed at the end of the day.
That does seem what it is. Is like you do just get to cram stuff on the table until you're done.
Yeah, until one of you decides I've had enough.
For a pickup game,
and it even says in the rule. It says in the rules that if your models don't fit, then you just do something else with them or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like we're already, the game isn't even out yet. We're already throwing around words like balance and blah 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 blah.
That's what our little gamer minds need, and I'm using that term obviously, flippantly or whatever. But that's what we're used to. I want to show up, and that's what we talk about at 40K. And let's do some shout-outs. Sorry, then I'll go off on my tangent or whatever. It was,
brace yourselves.
Lamont, good to see you. Lou, awesome. Table Noob, man, I love that handle. Thanks, Coach, Dean, Vaughn, Boy Wraith Prime, Ed, guys, thanks for checking in. I'm sorry if I'm scrolling here, so if I miss on next time. We scramble with 40K. What we want, or at least what I want, and I think this is what's matters to some people, is we want to roll into a game store like we could in 4th and 5th edition and before it, and just play 40K. I know that I'm going to show up and I'm going to bring 1850 and be able to scale up to 2500, and whoever I'm playing is going to bring out that many points, and we're going to get a game.
Yeah.
And right now we can't really do that in 40K. There's a little bit of talk that can go down before the game, and then we get the game going. With Age of Sigmar, there looks like there's a lot of discussion that has to go down. You got to set those games up before you even leave the house.
That's one way, yeah. I'm looking at it for sure. I mean, it's, I don't want to bring a handful of skeletons and then you bring a handful of great unclean ones. That's. So.
I've got 5 Bloodthirster models in the house right now.
I own 2 of the Forge World Great Unclean ones, and I was sitting there when I was doing some play tests. I was like, I need like 4 more, because I was summoning them. You can summon Great Unclean ones, and I was
there like,
summoning is rough. Summoning is where it's at. Summoning is you could bring. It's crazy,
and it's not hard either. It's like you roll 2 dice on a 5-up, you get Plague Drones. Like, get out of here! I can roll freaking 5 with 2 dice all day.
I can't.
All you have to do is tell Paul it's a charge distance whenever he's making those rolls, and you'll be safe.
That's right. I got Samael in my pocket right now. All right. I tell you, I've never found another 5-inch charge again.
Yeah. That's your minimum from now on.
So funny with listening to Adam from the podcast talk about his list building. In between our chats, our admin chat that we have for the thing, just like, I want to do all this, and I want to do all this.
Must have all the special rules.
He's got it all. But I'm happy for the Dark Angel players. I'm happy that their codex is legitimate contender right now.
Yeah.
Not to go too off on 40K.
It's a good book. You know, it's definitely, it's got a little bit of that cut and paste from Space Marines. Space Marines was good. You know, so innately it's going to be good. I think Raven Wing's where it's at. I think it's going to be the most fun and possibly the most competitive too. So, and it's always
Coach
great
got a question, and I want to get a clarification before we get too far because I know there's a minute delay. It says, "What's the merits of taking a command squad? Are they worth the points?" Are you talking about for which army? Are you talking about for the command squad?
If it's Dark Angels, no, because they're not on bikes, and you know how we feel about bikes.
Bikes are good. The
If
Black
it wasn't for
Knight,
me on this podcast, it would be Forge the Bike narrative.
Hey,
the Raven Wing command squad.
yeah,
Well, that's where it's at.
yeah, the Raven Wing one is good if you're gonna, you know, go that route.
That banner to auto pass, hit and run. Taking all my bad luck out of the game. Every bad luck I have.
Basically, just buy a
pass hit and
Vindicator
runs.
so you can kill that one guy.
Right. I don't pass hit and runs, and I don't make 5-inch charges. So I need to switch to playing Dark Angels in my army. But you know, I posted that list a little while ago. Dark Angels and Blood Angels still fit really well together.
Yeah.
Angels of Death represent.
Yeah, hey man, that was like the best book in the world. That did it for
It really
me.
was. That was such a fun read.
Mm-hmm.
After you got rid of the hardbacks of the Slaves of Darkness and whatever the other one was, I mean that was the next one that just wowed me. I mean it was awesome. So yeah. Anyway, long day. Apparently, a lot of people had a bunch of work to do today, and it's cool to see them chilling out with us. I've been working on building Robotech Tactic models. If you guys are out there and you guys had the Kickstarter or you picked up some miniatures, let me give you one tip. Do not read the instructions that it came with. They're crap. Go right to drive-through games. What Palladium has done is free on drive-through games or drive-through RPG or something. They have put up instructions that take all the pain out of the assembly. Now, I don't know if I've got the time to build like all, because each one of these is, you have to get 3 of these to make your, like this is one model. This is essentially what one model can do. It can transform into all 3 of these things.
Oh.
But with reading the actual instructions that make sense, this was not that bad to do. And I can see myself getting some games in pretty soon after one day of hobby time of building stuff. So, and I've got a handful of the bad guys over here too. Like I'm ready to go, and I'm happy that I discovered those instruction manuals on video games.
So
y'all know how I feel about
Robotech,
Robotech. Yeah.
what about that Riptide on steroids?
Oh, I love
That
it.
thing-
I love it so much.
That
There's some
thing's good.
influence there. There's a little bit of influence, I think.
Coach has clarified. Ultramarine Command Squad. The answer is no. Do not take Ultramarine Command Squad. Unless you have something specifically you want to do with them, because they still, I mean, they've got the relatively inexpensive bikes. They've got the feel no pain.
Special weapon.
But yeah, I mean, in access, so they're not bad. They just don't do the same things for they would in other chapters. I think I would spend those points on, I'd go for Centurions or, some Martis. Martis is a one-man wrecking crew. He don't need a command squad.
That dude's a beast, man.
So is it worth? Can you buy it? Is it worth it? The answer is yes. You're not going to go wrong with the Space Marine Command Squad because they're so versatile. But I think they play differently, and you want them to do different things in certain armies, and I don't know if Ultramarines can capitalize on them.
Yeah, I've had some luck with the Blood Angels Command Squad. I usually kit it out, and that one's probably the most rigid and inflexible type of command squad out there right now. Wouldn't you say? Because you have to take the Apothecary, you have to take the company champion, who comes with the Buster 6+ invulnerable save, Shield of Worthlessness. And,
Got some awesome shoulder pads though.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad that they look good on a dead guy that's walking, but like I usually kit them out with storm shields and melta-guns on the dudes that I can't upgrade. Put them in a pod with a few characters, try and get sanctuary or something. Basically situate it. So these guys are a delivery system. They can deliver some ranged hurt, have some melee punch in there in that squad, and you have to deal with that squad as soon as it's dropped on the table. And when you combo it with some of the cool independent characters, I usually have like a Chaplain, Mephiston, and lately I've been putting Hector Rex in it. Then you can really start getting a very durable, versatile squad out of that. And it's very hard to get them off the table. Yeah. I've soaked up 2 to 3 turns of Eldar shooting with just that one squad.
Hector Rex is a beast.
Eldar are the most broken thing in history of ever. So how can you do that? You're lying.
Well, I'll tell you what, it involves endurance for a 4+ feel no pain, and sanctuary for a 2+ invulnerable save.
So you heard it here
still
first.
Strong though.
Eldar did not break the game. There
Jake and Troy, good to see you guys. So the name scroll by. Hope you all doing all right. Dean's saying that the Ravenwing Command Squad plus the Apothecary and the Banner are automatic for all his list. You're not going to go wrong with that.
Yeah.
And think of this as talking with Mark Parker, who y'all know is a great list builder and friend of the show, been on several of the podcasts. And he was talking about a different, where you take a bunch of those Cataphren dudes, and then you put all the independent characters in that. You take the war gear that lets them fire on Overwatch, or fire at full ballistic skill on Overwatch. Then maybe you slide Kodiaz in there. That unit just became almost invulnerable.
I can see that being very painful to deal with.
You put 9 of those guys. They're on big bases, but you can bunch them up pretty tight. Then you got like a few 2+ save guys just kind of chilling on the corners, and then anything gets anywhere near you with Kodiaz in that unit, you're gunning them down. People can't charge you because it might as well be Wall of Death.
It's a miracle I haven't read that in a book yet.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm speechless.
Just putting that out there, floating that out there in the internet to see if anyone else does. Because I've not picked up any destroyers yet, but they're on my list to do the Cataphren destroyers, or the Caterpillar destroyers.
I was thinking about the whole concept of a Super Friends list, and a lot of people will rag on it and say, "Well, it's not fluffy," but I think that Super Friends is incredibly fluffy. You just got to imagine every game is your last stand. You are defending Helm's Deep, the orcs are coming in, and you get all your dudes on your bikes, and you charge out of that gate, and you beat face until they're all dead. That is the Super Friends bike star.
Lord of the Rings.
Grab them by their scrawny necks. Anyway, but Death Star 40K is always been alive and well. It's never gone away, and we just happen, or at least I happen to really like the way it plays out. But I also like the tactical of MSU. And in certain tournaments where not a lot of action happens on the tabletop, the MSU units are going to be where it's at. That's why Eldar do so well in some of those tournaments, and things like these Gladius Strike Force and the Lion Roar, or whatever it's called. Everything we're going to see. Yeah, that's right. The Secret Kyrian. Everything we're going to see past this is going to have in there. So say what we want about the codexes. There's ways to build everything and be competitive. We were talking on the show about the ATC Mission 1. This next show we're going to do run the ATC 2. All do very well in the mission. You guys remember that?
Chopping out.
Okay.
I heard 01001.
Yeah. Well, what I was talking about was how we ran down the ATC Mission 1 and how I think that's a fairly balanced mission, and every codex that's come out has some way of dealing with it within the confines of the 7th edition rules, even in the format of the ATC.
Yeah. And then... Well, because I slightly heard you say something about Mission 2, and I know we're
going to go down Mission 2 on the next show, and that's at its base level, it looks real easy. I'm just going to kill stuff.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
there's some complexity to it.
Yeah.
There's some that a good general will be able to outplay his opponent with, even though
You're
you're just
missing the
battling
point of the
out.
game. Just trying to kill stuff.
Yeah. You know, I've been playing a lot of games with a friend of the show, Kelly K, and let me tell you, he should probably beat me every game, but he loses sight of the mission and he wants to kill stuff. Now it's making for some really thematic, really fun endings and stuff. But I will say, undefeated champion.
It takes discipline to play an objective mission, and I say that I don't mean like just fixed placements on the table. I mean, and a mission that has things that you need to complete either during the game or or at the end of the game or whatever.
Yeah, you really got to plan it out. You got to think about, you know, that the whole 2 turns ahead, 3 turns ahead thing. You know, kind of like chess. A lot of people talk about that. I struggle with it myself. You know, I'm a pretty straightforward guy. You know, I want to just go in there and put you in a headlock and I win. But you know, you got to think. You got, especially in the ATC missions with the FTN missions, like all these like layers of mission design. Like, I can't do this anymore. You really have to change gears and completely think about what you're doing differently for the tertiary, the secondary, and all the.
In that team environment, it's critical you get every single point for your team. There have been, one year we won on total kill point, victory points, like we eliminated of our enemies. One year we won by 5 points. One year we lost by 1 point. You know, so every single point for your team really matters, and staying focused on missions. And I think that's what any tournament should do. You should be able to you should be able to compete with the missions, but then the mission should be interactive with you to where you have to actually try to play the game, even if you've built what might be the unkillable list.
Well, I tell you, sometimes it just comes down to one decision you make on the table. A game that I played comes to mind where I was playing against an Eldar player, and he deliberately put his HQ real close to Dante, hoping that I would take myself off of the objective and try and go in there and be faced with him. And I could have done it. I probably could have killed him, but it wouldn't have won me the game. And initially, I almost took the bait because I wanted this cool fight, because sometimes you just want that cool fight on the table, right?
Oh, yeah.
But I realized...
You got to weigh the odds. Could I go over there and kill him and then consolidate back? Is that...
I worry about that later.
I decided that it was better if I ignored him and went for the objective, and that one decision won me that game. And that's what you've got to think about when you're doing these sort of team tournaments is, you know, it's not just about, you can get a cool point for killing the other guy's HQ, and it can be a great game moment, but your whole team is counting on you to make the most of the game that you're playing.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you flat out. If you put your guy that close to Dante, I'm cutting your head off. And if I lose a point for it, and I go back and we lose ATC by 1 point, I'm buying everybody a case of beers, and I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but that dude needed to be decapitated.
Sorry, guys. Had to do it.
The whole lesson I was trying to teach was fell on deaf ears.
He put his head on the thing, you know, chop it here.
Space Loop's coming in with some sage advice. It says, fear and aggression are primal distractions. Keeping your focus on the mission requires some discipline. You know, I'd love to say that I've always done that. but as Justin is saying, sometimes you just have to make the fun play and hope it works out.
All right. Well, you know, I try.
No,
to
you
teach
did
these
the right
guys
thing.
out.
You did the right thing.
I screwed up.
I'd like to say that I would do the right thing, but I also know that occasionally that thirst just wells up inside, and there's nothing that can be done.
It's true. It's true.
Speaking of red thirst, Forge World, my brothers.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Has blessed us with so much goodness. We got another Primarch first. We got Paterbo, who looks cooler than I imagined him in the books.
He looks just like his book covers.
Yeah, but if you read him in the books, he's like the simple Primarch. Anyway,
he would hate you for saying that. He hates you so much for saying that.
I know he does. I don't know if I like Dorn better. I don't think I like Dorn better. I like Perturbo simply for him smashing Fulgrim's face into the Warhound.
Oh gosh, that was so good.
That was an amazing scene. But like all the others, the things in the book, I don't know. He's like the simple guy. Whatever. But
I like his base.
The model is amazing. The model is beautiful and makes me rethink my total position on it. But they gave us Blood Angel figures.
Yes.
Blood Angel upgrades, and they look good. They don't look like the generic Mark IV, armor or whatever. It just looks good.
Heavy breathing.
Right there.
He's having a moment.
Yeah, but and by the way, we got Dark Angel also, but
yes,
we got Blood.
All I saw was the Blood Angel sprue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that pretty much decided what I'm getting for Christmas, because that book that they're coming out with that has the White Scars, the Dark Angels, and the Blood Angels rules in it. It's just Legion, so no characters, so no Sanguinius, unfortunately. But we know our book's coming, and they're building models for us, so I can start my Legion at the end of this year and be content.
Yeah, there's going to be tanks. I mean, there's going to be TAC Marines, there's going to be Assault Marines. You're probably going to need 20 TAC Marines and 10 Assault Marines at the very minimum. So it's good to pick them up. And, heck, they blend in really well with the Blood Angel kit that just came out.
Oh, it's so awesome. That blows when they redid the TAC Squad box, everybody was like, oh my goodness, like this is literally the best kit ever made. Okay, put blood drops on it and all kinds of other crap. It kicked it up like 10 notches. Emerald Lagasse came in that, and he was like, bam!
Bam! I hear you. So other forwards
preaching the word of Sanguinius right here, right now.
This is like a prediction that everyone could have guessed, but we're going to get a Mechanicum supplement. That's all Mechanicum, and that is desperately needed because the Mechanicum rules are spread out everywhere, and it's very difficult to make a Mechanicum army, even if you have all the books in your hand.
Well, if you have all the books in your hand, you've probably got like monster biceps from carrying that thing around all the time.
Well, they're fragmented, and it's one of those things to where, like, the faction, the way that you pick your AdMech army is different than any other Marine armies, and it closes things off. Like, you have to take a very specific one to be able to get the Tri-Hours conveyors.
Yeah, it's layered. It's difficult. I was skimming through and stuff, and I found it to be a little bit clunky, I guess would be a good word.
All you got to do is think of these rights of war just like a CAD or a detachment or a formation. It's just in 30K speak. Just in 30K speak. See what I did there?
I can't even speak 40K, so.
Much less 30K. But hey, go ahead and throw in this at the seasonal. You can bring a full 30K list if you'd like. 30K legal in our 40K tournament.
If you do, drinks are on me. The whole day.
Yeah, you just dump them right on top of them. It's great.
You don't know what's going to come out between now and then. Maybe that big cannon that blows up the whole table is going to be.
That'd be something.
Per hour. I got kids.
Yeah, that most likely won't. Yeah, with the way that they point that out, though, it's like it's very difficult to put these big things in a 30K list. It's almost got its own intrinsic balance built into it. Now, I know I said the B word.
You watch your mouth.
My heart skipped a beat there.
But that goes back to what we're talking about, is that we desperate as players of this game that we spend so much time building things and plotting and planning and needing, something slots for everything to organize into, that we want that balance. And 30K pretty much has that balance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know I give you guys a lot of crap over the B word, but it's true. We want to have a game that is fair. We want to have a game that gives everybody a chance to win, and at least an equal chance to win, not just you don't have to try. You still got to think about it. But when we're bringing large groups of people together, I mean, if it's just you and your buddy in your basement, whatever, you guys can do whatever you want. You could invent a rule where Space Marines are actually toughness 6 with 4 wounds apiece, an Eternal Warrior, so that they play like they act in the books. Who cares?
Wait. I like where you're going with this. Go ahead.
But when we're getting together for a tournament or something like that, we've got to accept that some of the stuff that we really like, some of the stuff we really want to play with, the way we want to play it, we just can't do. And a lot of that is
Troop, you better start You better start saving now, because it looks like Fallen Cypher is coming, and I happen to verify he has an AdMech army for 30K. So and the internet is shocked that you read something. And I was too. I'm gonna let that go by.
Look, I put it in there.
Lou's got a good suggestion of tearing out all the pages from the Horus Heresy books and just stapling them together and to make our own, which,
You know what? If you do that, then you deserve to buy everybody else a drink, because you must have lots of money.
As far as that goes, is it, and how compared to the rest of the game, I don't think it is. I mean, like, give me those books over any codex recently.
Yeah.
Eldar Marine notwithstanding, those are good codexes, but they're still not as good as the Horus Heresy books.
It's because it's like an encyclopedia of awesome. That's the way it's formatted. I mean, it looks like an encyclopedia book on the shelf. I can't even talk. It's so awesome.
Kelly's coming in and saying he's been over there being a little Junior Forge World, building some tanks. So you got that coming later, Justin.
I ain't worried.
Oh, snap. You missed the trash
Kelly should go back
earlier.
first to the show. Yeah, you gotta do that. So again, we're about halfway through the show right now, and it's been exciting times. This Age of Sigmar. Check out Duncan Rhodes' painting tutorial. I mean, okay. He paints really well, and it's a gold model, and they're all gold, and he shows you how to use them. Now, but if you're playing Blood Angels, he does them red, I think. But if you're playing Blood Angels, or my Grey Knights are gold. It's an excellent tutorial on that.
Yeah, I had a chance to look at the painting guide that's not out yet too. They had it at the store for the managers, I guess. They did an interesting thing where they did 2 washes too. They did like a sepia first, did another layer of color, and then they did the Agraxar shade. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Wow, that's totally different than his tutorial, because I watched that. I don't watch that Rhodes tutorial today.
Yeah. Well, even in the White Dwarf, when they talk about how they're doing the gold in there, it's different. It's it's just the 1 wash method. And I was like, yo, what is this 2 wash thing? Like, I have to try it. Like, now my head is wrapped around it. I need to do it.
Well, if you're using 2 washes, I find that the secret weapon washes are great for that, because sometimes you just want a real subtle effect, or you want the secret weapon washes do things differently than the Games Workshop washes. For the secret weapon stuff, it's almost just for the recesses. And if you're painting white, they have some reason, and whatever your accent color, if it's like white and blue or white and red or white and purple or whatever, their washes are amazing. They are absolutely amazing for giving you that shade of color in the deepest recesses. So they've got a soft body black that I go in just right in the recesses, and if that's too dark or I want like maybe a different effect, I'll go in with their cool gray, which is the perfect blue shade for white. Absolutely perfect. I endorse that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, whatever they're using for their medium, it's just far superior. Lamia Medium's it's a great product and stuff, but whatever Mr. Justin concocted or got done, that's just amazing.
Never ask what a chemist does behind closed doors.
In my opinion, they're 2 totally different products. They are for 2 separate things. If you want to ham-hand, and I do this on the regular, all right? If you want to ham-hand some washes on all over the figure, Games Workshop wins every single day. You want to go in and pretend like you're really doing some art, Secret Weapon, in conjunction with my ham-handed Games Workshop washes, does the job.
I got a lot of my pretend art right here on the table.
I mean, I'm already thinking, like, these guys, these old battle pods and stuff that I'm doing, there's so many of them to where you don't want to spend a crap ton of time on them. But if I were to put some just base coats on these and then go in with those Secret Weapon washes, that's going to make these look like they're shining on the table.
Yeah, these pigment powders too. I've been using some of these. You get the picture.
Yeah, I got it.
They are so much easier to use than some of the other stuff that I've tried, and the quality of how it sits on the model and stuff like that. It's just far superior. Like, if you're really stepping your game up and you're looking for that next tech, hit up Secret Weapon, man. Tell them we sent you. We don't get paid for it or anything, but we definitely endorse their product.
Yeah, and this is completely unprompted. I mean, we start talking about hobbies and how to make and what I use. I mean, when I'm painting, and I'm an okay painter. I mean, I'm not going to win the best painted award, but I'm not going to embarrass myself when I put my figures on the table either. And over the years, I've learned some things. I can use. I mean, artists call them techniques. I call them cheats because I know I'm not the artist. But there's some things that I'd be happy to pass along that works.
Yeah. Tamiya, I don't know if I'm saying it right. They got some good stuff too. So, if you're like tinting some of your canopy glass or whatever, some of their enamel clears and stuff like that, those work really cool. You can get it.
Speaking of gold, the base coat for my Grey Knights that I got up to gold, a very bright gold, I did a base coat of the dark bronze from Tamiya. Mm-hmm. And I came over with shining gold, just a 45 or whatever, and then Vallejo Air Gold because it's the brightest gold.
Oh yeah.
Right on top. I mean and then I hammered the wash, and then I went back in and detailed with line with the gold. But I mean that's the way I do gold. Now Lou's asking about the gold spray. I bet it's awesome.
I'm interested in that. I'm very interested.
Yeah.
I bought some of the metallic, like the lead belcher. I haven't used it yet though.
It's good.
I mean, I bet it's they're the primer cans. I did red recently, and beautiful. Worked from Games Workshop. Worked amazing. Did exactly what I wanted it to do.
So
I know we're talking about painting, which is boring. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, the store manager.
It's not like we're a hobby podcast or anything.
Yeah. The local store here, the store manager used the new gold spray paint crap. Rattle can. Whatever.
I like it.
I don't know where I'm going with this.
We're going to coin it. The new gold spaint. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah. All right, I'm lazy.
Trendy.
So hashtag spaint.
Spaint. Oh, this is the thing now. This is the thing. I love it.
You're welcome, Internet. So basically, he used that spaint to go ahead and base coat all those dudes from the starter set. It's real smooth, man, and it's a whole different shade of gold from like the rubric gold and some of the other stuff that's been out before. Like it's got like a red hue to it, but still a little bit like brighter. It's real fresh. I think he was a little too far away. He had a little bit of texture. I don't know if it's made to be textured.
Probably
like that.
That could be humidity in the air. That little type of variable can be explained by 100 things, including user error.
Yeah, but yeah, it looked good. The color of it was real good. He threw a wash over it on one of the dudes, and it maintained a lot of that brightness too. So, and it was a sloppy wash, like the ham hand, as Paul calling.
Yeah, my buddy is getting the. I'm gonna paint him up for us because this is what I do. He's my hobby. I guess date. That's the best way to put it. But I put together stuff. Yeah, I know. And so I'm gonna do the starter set. I called dibs on the chaos. He's gonna do that. I'm gonna paint them both up. We're gonna play and see how we like it. And and I don't want to write the game off again because the company is committed to it. I mean, they're showing us that they're going to put out. I feel like the next set of books we get for that is not going to have the silly stuff. It's going to have some type of structure in it that we can get behind and feel like we're playing something that matters and not just a throwaway kitchen table game.
I love that you said that. And I actually was thinking about this earlier in the show. Like playing a game that matters. The whole idea of this raging host of people from the metaphorical heaven coming down to wreak vengeance and reclaim, that theme seems so inverted to the theme of 40K. Am I wrong? I mean, it sounds like
no, they're
40K.
Ghost of Space Marines.
Everybody's going down to Terra. The Tyranids want to eat the Emperor. Chaos wants to kill the Emperor. The Eldar. I don't want to talk about what the Dark Eldar want to do to the Emperor, but everybody wants to go to Terra and kill the Emperor and kill all the humans. And now all of a sudden, in Age of Sigmar, you've got this idea that you're coming out and you're fighting and you're making a difference by representing basically this god figure. And I think that the idea is so much fun. It's like I want to be a part of that story. I want to be one of the guys that comes out and is like, yo, I'm fighting for the good guys. I'm gonna beat Paul's face in with my Thunderhammers, and we're gonna have a good time.
I'm gonna bring 4 Nagashes though, so be prepared.
One Glockkin, that's all you need, Chris.
Now I hear you though, and it's a good story. It seems interesting. They get a good fresh take on it. They made it very clear that this is new. Now, I had one of those gamer arguments with someone at the store, and I know they were talking about how Slanesh has been killed. And I said, Slanesh has not been killed. He's like, no, Slanesh has been killed. It happened in the book. Tyrion went up and killed him. He's like, dude, Slanesh is still alive. There's no problem. Like, this is all. He's like, no. And I just said, look, I didn't read the book. I'm just arguing to argue.
So basically, Paul's been playing trolls in fantasy.
But that's the kind of things. That's the stories you can tell. You know, maybe even they're the silly ones. So with a brand new world, and that's what it is. It is a brand new world.
Well, there's a leak too. Apparently, there's a big hardbound book coming that's like $74. That could very well be a actual structured rule book. You know, so so a lot of like the freaking out and stuff that some people are doing. Mind you, these people probably haven't even played yet, and it's freaking amazing.
When Fantasy, I forget which edition it was. I want to say 6th edition. When Fantasy 6th or 5th or whatever, don't hold me, the edition came out, they put out this Ravening Hordes book that was rules for every army that was out. And it was just like this, 20, 30 page little paperback book that had all the rules that you could play with. You could play with whatever army you were playing in that edition, no problem. And then more books came out, and they replaced the Ravening Hordes list.
Yeah. This is just something to whet your palate.
It's a service. Think about how mad you would be if it didn't exist. I don't care if Karl Franz or whatever needs a mustache to be awesome. Like, it doesn't matter. Or Kurt Helborg, I think it is, or whatever. Yeah. Or if I've got to look in the mirror when I'm rolling Sigval's dice, or who cares? It's all fun and fine. Like, if it didn't exist, but there'd be plenty of people like marching on the company. They tear down that statue, which I'm not suggesting. It'd be like the raid on the pitch, if you know what I'm saying.
And that statue's gonna get struck by lightning, come to life, and smash people's faces in.
Yeah, I'm gonna stand in front of it, stalwart. You gotta get through me. That thing is awesome.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, folks.
I mean, that's
smash.
The thing is freaking awesome, man. Like that. When you have that in front of your building as a company, I'm sorry. Like you put it all on the table right there. You're like, yeah, we freaking rock, man.
That's like Blizzard, right? Blizzard has that big freaking warg statue where you've got the wolf rider, the orc wolf rider, and he looks freaking awesome. Yeah. And how cool would that be when you go into work in the morning? You're like, all right.
Yeah, right.
You got all that. You rub the claw or something for good luck on the way in. I don't know. It's like, it's awesome. I mean, I have to freaking pass a biometric scan to get into work. And there's not even any money where I'm at.
Now, rumor is that we're not going to see any 40K releases for a little while.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if I think that's true. I think that we will see things like maybe another Demonkin book because they can use those fans the exact same models for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
I think you might be onto something with that. But again, Paul is using his secret CEO powers. He's casting the runes, playing the Emperor's Tarot.
Okay.
I have been known to predict the future of Games Workshop, but I think how neat it would be to get a dual release like we did with the original Demons book.
Yeah, hey, Ben Hopper's he's on board with you with Nagash and stuff.
Oh, like 5 Nagashes?
Yeah, he's talking about throwing some zombies in there in a corpse cart and calling that a day.
Yeah, you can just spawn stuff. I mean, that is kind of neat, all right? Especially if you're playing in a game with objectives, which we know. We're going to scramble to make sense for this. We are definitely going to figure out something, even if the company doesn't give it to us, which I believe that they are. We are going to figure it out and have something that makes sense. And I've got fantasy models I want to break out. I've got a Chaos Warrior army. I've got, again, my buddy's Skaven army right over there. I got all kind of undead. I've got a few high elf models. Might be cool to throw down on the table.
Yeah.
I've got. I don't have a lot of the Warhammer fantasy figures, but between my dad and I mean, I've got a ton of Lord of the Rings figures for one thing. We have a whole bunch of the Old Glory miniatures, which are, they're basically comparable to the size and style of the Warhammer stuff. I mean, I could just pick those up and play this game. No big deal.
Yeah, Kelly, I'm right there with you. He's also predicting the Tzeentch Demonkin. I think that's going to, yeah. And then Gabriel's saying he hopes that they see a new Lord of Change and some new Chaos Psychic powers.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Yep. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
But here's the thing. I just hate the way that most of the Tzeentch stuff looks. I hate the bird, the bird aesthetic. The horrors don't look very horrifying. I mean, it's kind of like SpongeBob's worst nightmare. I don't get it.
What do you want?
I want if we're gonna have sorcerers, like I want dudes more like the Changeling, guys with like the hooded, faceless aspect that look like they're actually casting a frickin' spell instead of.
I mean, like old decrepit dudes walking around with canes.
It's like Japanese tentacle nonsense casting spells. I don't not.
Dude, their mouth is big enough to eat your face whole.
Not helping.
That's terrifying.
I don't know. I don't mind them. I mean, I've kind of gone back and forth for how I felt about some of the Chaos stuff over the years, but I think they're okay. I'm less a fan of like the Demonettes than I was of the previous Demonettes in previous generations. I even liked the Crabclaw ones. Thought those were great.
Now, I will say this. I mean, the Nurgle stuff, while Nurgle's not my thing, is very appropriately themed and very appropriately modeled, and it looks like a blast of paint. Khorne, I think, has a great aesthetic. Just because I don't know, there's a small part of me that thinks that that's what demons should really look like. Slaanesh is never really. I don't even want to talk about Slaanesh. But with Tzeentch, I don't look at any of those models and think spellcaster, and that's what I want to do with them. I want to have a bunch of dudes that look like they're like
a spellcaster. The whole group is a spellcaster.
Yeah.
They form, a writhing mass of chaos. Whatever. I can't say that you're wrong. It's an opinion.
Yeah, and that's fine. People can love it, and that's fine. I don't. If someone puts a horror on the table, I'm not going to point at it and say, "Get this thing off. I don't like it." Nah, opinion. Nah, troll.
Hey, I don't believe you can cast spells, but whatever the heck this is. So I'm just not going to take it.
Your summoning is now invalid because reasons. So. But if I were to do a Tzeentch themed army, I would probably use, I don't know, maybe ring wraith models because they kind of look like spooky spellcaster sort of guys. And I would proxy a bunch of stuff, and I would really go all out with conversions on it. But not everybody has to do that, and that's fine. That's my personal preference because I would love that.
But because we got them in fantasy battle, we're gonna probably. I mean, we know they're not gonna make any new models they can't use for the demons. And because it's pretty easy, they don't have guns and stuff on them. I think we're going to see the Demonkin book somewhere mixed in with all this Age of Sigmar stuff.
You think how much money they're saving without all these square bases now, too? What?
The relics of a time gone past, man. I don't even know. I got a box of square bases. What am I supposed to do with them?
Troy hit me up in a message earlier. He's like, "What are these things?" I don't know, man. Throw them on the side of an orc truck. Extra armor.
Just think, like pop-top cans. Nobody's gonna know what any of that stuff is. In the near future, it's like the Force. 20 years from now, no one's gonna remember that they dominated for the 20 years before.
I will never let that happen. I will champion that cause.
Keeping square bases alive. Can use them for coasters. Like use the larger ones for coasters.
Be some tiny drinks.
That's right.
There you go.
Man, but I'm not kidding. I am looking forward to the Age of Sigmar stuff. I mean, I liked playing fantasy. I did not like what had become of the rules. And what else were they going to do? Just let it continue to support this whole game that nobody was really enjoying? And I shouldn't say, I know there's a lot of fans out there who did enjoy it. I saw it every time I go to the store. One of my local stores had a thriving fantasy community. Yeah. But I know that's a minority.
The fact of the matter was they could tell that it wasn't supported based off of sales. Now, does everybody that play fantasy has every model that they're ever going to need? That could have been the case, But they needed to do something. They needed to shake it up. They need to bring new people in it. This was their attempt, man. Roll with it. I bet you
there were ways
really fun.
They could have done things, in my opinion, that they waited too long to do it. So, yeah, it was way too long to do it. But what the players were doing for things like the big blocks of troops and that kind of stuff, were making like little scenic elements to put in the middle of the blocks of units, so they would have to paint 10, 15 less dudes, a box less of dudes or whatever. Games Workshop could have easily sold those scenic elements to put in the bases because every single fantasy player I knew was doing them.
Yeah.
Like, and then just, this is cool to do. Make your units look that much more awesome because you're going to have this scenic element right in the middle of all. Every table is going to be thematic, you know. And they could have made their money that way instead of people just choosing to not buy their product at all. And that's just one thing. That's just one thing. The rules got too clunky, but also buying all the models and stuff, it didn't matter. They basically were just, you know, spear catchers, you know, arrow pin cushions, you know.
It was a big investment too. Like I originally I wanted to give fantasy a try. A lot of people talked so highly of it, but I was looking at it. I was like, man, I gotta buy like $7 million worth of stuff, man. Like,
there was a time, man, when moving those units around was a serious art. To where you know you knew you were a Warhammer player when you knew how to move those figures around.
Yeah, the angles.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Like, I played Khorne back in the day, and everyone was like, well, I'm just going to move around you. You're never going to get me. But what am I good at? Grabbing you by the neck and ramming your face into the dirt. That's what I'm good at. So,
I too, am good at that.
Yeah, but
More
I got that way.
We should form a podcast and talk about it.
Got that way playing Fantasy Battle. You know, with the whole thing, I'm just going to move around you. We'll try it, buddy. Let's see what you got. I made a 99 in high school geometry. You were not getting away.
It's about as practical an application as you can get out of that class, too.
But hey, you know.
That's true.
Sorry, I'm missing some questions. I've kind of been off on this whole Age of Sigmar / rant, but I'm anxious to see where the game goes, and I don't want to. I'm not going to write it off. I'm going to try and make some sense of it, just like everybody else out there. And we'll be talking about that on our recorded show too, on our podcast.
But there were some rules, though. I mean, you're talking about the clunky rules. There were some rules in Fantasy that I thought would be great to port over to 40K that would make more sense to me, like shooting.
Like random charge distances?
Well, random charge distances, I wish that there were more ways to manipulate. Having those kind of Samael buffs, like bikes just in general get a better charge range. I mean, I know Fleet does some of that, but sometimes that doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm messing with you. Yeah.
But like for shooting, instead of having a cover save, if you're in cover, it makes you harder to hit. So it's a minus to the ballistic skill of whoever's shooting at you based on the cover that you're in. I think that that's a good mechanic. I like the I like the way that they handled psychic powers, magic powers, a little bit better, because you are trying to get, you're trying to add the dice together to a certain point, and then your opponent's trying to beat that with however many dice he wants to throw. I think that's better than the flat 4+. I think that helps make it a little bit more reliable. I mean, again, you're working with dice, but I like that mechanic. So there were things about it.
There were some things that weren't bad. They were the first game to introduce a lot of the elements in Fantasy Battle did make it into 40K, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see that. I don't think we're going to get a real another version of 40K for quite some time, but how that continues to follow the trend. So the next time will we see 40K in a different way? Now they'll never shake up the cash cow. Something like we're going to have to be in the throes of the actual apocalypse of Games Workshop before they change 40K around. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of the elements made their way in.
A lot of those fantasy players will know if they played the Lord of the Rings game that the War of the Ring rules that was for the big Lord of the Rings army battles, a lot of that was ported over to fantasy. So you may not have realized it, but you were secretly playing Lord of the Rings.
Everyone who played Lord of the Rings played it in secret.
Oh, shush.
Chris, you were one of 4 people that bought a Lord of the Rings box.
I'm coming out of the Hobbit hole and declaring my pride.
I think Viggo Mortensen bought one, and you, and 2 other guys.
You obviously did not read my article about the big Lord of the Rings game we played. But that's fine.
I read that. That was good. So, as we move forward and wrap up the show, Age of Sigmar, can't wait. going to be talking about on the show coming up. Robotech Tactics. I said I am. It is happening. Robotech is going down. Can't wait to do some of that stuff. And 40K ATC missions. Going to be talking about those coming up. And then the Forge Narrative Seasonal, which I put up a Facebook group and also announced it on our Forge Narrative Facebook page. So that's what stuff coming up this month, talking about things on our side. Guys, y'all got anything else you want to cover before we get out of here?
No, I'm going to do my best to try and make it to the seasonal this year, or this season rather. It sounds really exciting. You guys don't know this, but Paul's been working really hard to try and make this happen and make it the best experience possible. So really, I can't recommend it enough to anybody who wants to go. Come, bring your friends. You'll have a blast.
Thank you very much, man, and I do hope you can make it out. This is going to be a true first-class event. Got some big things planned, including a players' lounge, to where you can go and talk about your bad beats, describe how you beat somebody badly, and also get some drinks.
That's where I'll be the whole time.
The true beats lab.
The entire time. I'm just going to be chilling in the players' lounge, just doing what I do.
Oh, Troy got some breaking news. I don't want to start this, so he said the IG Codex no longer on the website.
Are you trolling us first? We have to know that.
He probably is. I got to go see that myself.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Knowing Troy.
A couple of minutes early. I want you all to have a good rest of y'all's night. Thank y'all very, very much for Q&A. I'm sorry I went off too much on Age of Sigmar, but I wanted to kind of get my feelings out on that. You guys have a good rest of y'all's night.
Yeah.
Take it
Look
easy.
forward to talking to you again. Have fun, guys.
Good night, everybody.